listening to the GreenSkull podcast.
A podcast for fight fans, music artists, and creatives alike. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another GreenSkull podcast. Today we're going to be covering the results of Wilder vs. Fury 3, and let's get right into it, man. So first, let's start off with these entrances, all right? Wilder coming out like a straight savage with the armor, with the mask. You know, he didn't have a full body armor like the last time, so, you know, maybe no more excuses, but it's all good. Regardless, he looked like a beast, you know what I'm saying? The music was amazing, came out like a straight savage. Yeah, man, it was a really dope entrance by Deontay Wilder. And Tyson Fury, of course, Tyson Fury always got to make it big. He's the Gypsy King. He made it look spectacular, and he came out with the 300 kind of theme, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had the whole 300 get up with like the cape and all that stuff. So, and of course, Tyson Fury, he always chooses like the perfect songs for those moments. So 100%, the entrances look just like some WWE type shit, and it was really, really cool, and I appreciated that because I feel like boxing alone is really amazing, but you know, the entrances can kind of make it a little more exciting. This fight was definitely one of the biggest fights talked about in a very long time, and it was postponed up until this point, but Wilder vs. Fury 3, one of the highly anticipated rubber matches, and in my opinion, one of the best fights that I've ever seen. So let's jump right into it, man. So round one, I noticed that Wilder came pushing forward a lot. He kept throwing some body shots, a little bit of combos to the body, and of course Tyson Fury was piecing him up with the jab, keeping him at bay, and he was actually headhunting for most of the first round. He actually caught him too. We caught Wilder just a little bit. He didn't really totally wobble him, but he did catch him, and it did look crazy because you started thinking, yo, this is just the first round. Now, of course, like I said, Wilder was coming in with those body shots. He was landing. He was for sure landing, and it was powerful. Obviously, the Bronze Bomber got that power. Moving forward to the third round, Wilder is finding the right hand. He's finding the reach. He's finding the distance. Finally, keeps landing that right hand towards Tyson Fury, but Fury drops Wilder. With some counter strikes, some head movement, drops Wilder for the first time. And you remember, you got to think, this is the third round. There's many more rounds to come, so you know it's going to be a long night for Deontay Wilder. Right after that, round 4, Wilder finds the right hand again, and not only drops the Gypsy King once, but twice in round 4. He caught him, bro. Tyson Fury was wobbly. He looked like Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall, and it was crazy. The fourth round was hella crazy. It actually looked like that Deontay Wilder could have finished it. I felt like for a second, like, yo, what's about to happen? Now, of course, throughout the whole fight, the Gypsy King was walking down Wilder after the second round, obviously getting dropped, but coming back and eventually dropping Wilder. The whole fight was just crazy. Overall, Tyson Fury was landing more jabs, more combinations, and moving a lot, while Deontay Wilder looked like he was beginning to gas and moving a little bit slow. But not to say that Wilder was out of the fight, because 100% he was still moving. Even though he can't fight off the back foot, he was still throwing those punches with heat, man. I'm talking like this was one of the craziest fights. Now in round 8, you could see Wilder throw a hard right hand and instantly grab his right wrist. And it looked like that maybe there was some speculation of him breaking his hand in the middle of the fight. We don't know. But regardless, he was still throwing that right hand with bad intentions. There was actually one point in the fight, I think after the 8th round, that the doctor was called in to talk to him about his right hand. And of course, Wilder's not going to fucking quit. You know, a lot of people pay a lot of good money for this fight. And of course, he doesn't want to lose. So even if there was an injury to his right hand, we saw a new Deontay Wilder this fight, because even though he looked like he was withering as the times went on, he looked like he had that mindset, like, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to get knocked out. There's no way I'm just going to hug and run, because he was throwing him back, even though he was backing up. Now, as the fight continues, in round 10, Fury commits to multiple combinations, head movement, utilizing the jab and the distance, and eventually catches Wilder on the side of the head and drops him for the second time. So now, the two best heavyweights in the world are 2 for 2 on knockdowns. This is one of the craziest moments of the fight. This is round 10. There's only 2 more rounds left, and we don't even know who's winning. Now, obviously, like I said, Wilder was backing up, but like I said, he was dropping those bombs on Fury. But Fury was looking good with those combinations and those body shots to slow down Wilder. So they're 2 for 2 right now. Now, even though Wilder looked really, really tired, you could tell that he was not going to give up. He was ready to die on his shield. You know what I'm saying? Because, to be totally honest, when Tyson got wobbled in the 4th round, he recuperated very quickly. Now, when Wilder got dropped the 2nd time, he had already looked done. He was walking around with his mouth open, not moving very quickly to dodge the punches, but he was still throwing them hands. So I saw the mentality of Deontay Wilder. He was not going to back down. He was ready, and he was either going to knock this dude out or get knocked out. Round 11 was the craziest round of this fight because Wilder, even though looking defeated and withered, was still throwing bombs, still moving. He looked like he had no signs of slowing down, even though he looked done. Now, of course, Tyson Fury still committed to all these body shots, all these combinations, all the head movement, moving and pressing forward, pushing Wilder against the ropes, and eventually lands a huge right hook in the exchange and drops Deontay Wilder. And the ref stops it, bro. KO on Deontay Wilder. The Gypsy King is still the Gypsy King, undefeated heavyweight champion. Crazy, crazy end to Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3 because it was literally a slugfest. These guys were fighting in the phone booth, moving backward, throwing combinations. They were both laying it down. So one of the best fights that I've seen, to be totally honest, especially in boxing in a long time. Now, the immediate aftermath of the fight, I seen that the Gypsy King walked over to Wilder to pay his respects, but Wilder didn't look like he really wanted to talk. Obviously he just got knocked out, so it's kind of hard to judge on what someone's thinking or feeling at the time because you got to remember he just got dropped by a huge right hand. But, of course, he didn't do an interview. He immediately left, and Tyson Fury was saying that he's a sore loser and that he didn't want to show him respect on camera. And it is what it is, man. I mean, at the end of the day, the Gypsy King did his thing. In my opinion, this was still a competitive fight. They were 2 for 2 up until he got knocked out. So it was a great night of entertainment, a great night of boxing. And, of course, the Gypsy King had to end it with singing, as he always does, and then follows up with the victory for the rest of the night. Now, seeing how relentless that the Gypsy King is and how big he is, you got to remember, I don't know if putting on weight for Wilder was good because he weighed in at his career high of 230. I actually think he was like 235 or something like that. And, Tyson Fury walked in at 275. Can you imagine the night of the fight? He was probably like 280, 290. And Wilder was probably like 240, 245. So, that's heavyweight for you. But, regardless, one of the best fights I've ever seen. If you guys haven't seen it, go look at the highlights because they're just throwing bombs. What I really liked about this fight was that they both went in there with bad intentions. They went in there to hurt each other. They went in there to win. They did not want to lose. Usually you'll see a fight where, someone's completely, withered and they give up and they kind of slow down. Even though Deontay was backing up most of the fight and getting pieced up with the jab, hey, man, he was still throwing hands. He proved that he was still dangerous even though he was backing up. So, in my opinion, much respect to Deontay Wilder. Even though he took the L, it's all good because at the end of the day, you showed that you had the heart of a champion and you did not want to quit. You literally had to get knocked out to lose, which made it the most exciting because obviously the Gypsy King's not going to back down either. He said it. You want to win, you need to knock me out. And I'm so glad it didn't go to decision because I feel like this could probably have been another draw. And then a 4th fight? So I'm glad that one of them got the victory. And I'm excited to see what's next for the heavyweight division in boxing. Because in my opinion, it seemed like boxing was just not very exciting. And watching fights like these give me hope 100%. So thank you guys for listening to the GreenSkull podcast covering the results of Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3. I appreciate everybody who's been keeping up with the podcast and sending me DMs and everything else. If you guys know anybody who wants to hop on for an interview, let me know because I'm always down to meet new people. Peace.
You're listening to the GreenSkull podcast.
A podcast for fight fans, music artists, and creatives alike.